Do you have a wonder wall in your classroom or learning space? Or perhaps you're thinking about introducing one into the space. If that's you, then today's episode is going to be super useful. Hello and welcome to Blooming Curious, the podcast dedicated to reimagining early childhood education through the power of curiosity. We explore the strategies that inspire a lifelong love for learning in children. So if you're an educator or a curious parent looking for creative, meaningful ways to engage children and move beyond the talk and chalk traditional classroom approach, then this is the podcast for you. If your wonder wall is just a pretty bulletin board where students' questions go to die, you're not alone, but you're missing a golden opportunity. So often I go into classrooms filled with beautiful displays, anchor charts and word walls and, yes, wonder walls too. But when I ask students often about those questions posted there, they usually say something like, that's where we put our questions when we don't know something, or those are the things we wonder about. But what I never see is what's never visible to me at least, is where anything ever happens to those questions. And it takes me back to my floor books, because in my classroom, I use floor books inspired by Dr. Claire Warden, and you can hear about them in the interview I did with her. I'll leave a link in the show notes for you to revisit that one. Because just like a wonder wall, I would capture children's wanderings, but then those wanderings would be turned into plots or possible lines of development. They would become anchors for our inquiry and our learning. Wonder walls should really be similar. They should be more than just decoration and wallpaper. They should be the spark, the fuel for deep, authentic learning. But too often, they're just wallpaper. What's the difference between a wonder wall or a learning wall, you might be thinking? Well, a wonder wall is really a space for children-generated questions, curiosity questions, I wonder statements. A learning wall, on the other hand, is a visual representation of the learning journey. It's co-constructed, it has vocabulary, goals, anchor charts, and evidence of understanding. The problem is that most wonder walls are passive. Questions go up, nothing comes down, kids stop caring. The solution is to activate the wonder wall, to use it as a launch pad for inquiry-based learning, a modeling session, if you will, to model the inquiry process. You choose 1 or 2 questions a week to explore deeply. In my interview with Tanya Gilchrist, I'll link to it in the show notes too, she spoke about exactly how we honor students' wonder questions without going off track and derailing our entire learning process. Tanya suggested you just choose 1 or 2 questions from that wonder wall to explore for a short time every week. So you put aside some time and you explore and you do a mini inquiry into 1 or 2 of those questions. But you might be thinking this is a waste of your time. I've got so much to get through. But don't forget, inquiry skills are a part of the curriculum. These wanderings and your modeling and your guided inquiry teaching is meeting curriculum goals. To really make wonder walls an authentic part of your teaching, where you honor students' curiosity, you really need to make revisiting those questions part of your weekly routine. Reflect with the children on what you've learned and what's still unknown. Here are some tips for making wonder walls meaningful. So firstly, I think you have to make them dynamic. They can't just go there to die. It's not a graveyard of children's wanderings. You've got to move those questions maybe into a different zone, like an investigation zone. You've got to celebrate the questions that you've answered and make sure that those answers are also displayed. You know, I think that many of us like our classrooms to feel aesthetically pleasing, and we often don't like messiness. But learning is messy. It isn't neat and linear and straightforward. So find a way that you can display students' answers and the process of finding out that suits you and honors your students. And now that Wonderwall isn't just dead wallpaper anymore, it becomes a living part of learning where children not only have their curiosity valued, but also fueled. If you're thinking about what your next inquiry unit should be about, well, just look at your Wonderwall for inspiration to plan your next integrated unit of work. Or it may be that spark for your learning wall. These are the kinds of topics I talk about in my weekly newsletter called Get Curious. If you want to get onto my email list, go to go.bloomingcurious.com/Get Curious. And once you get into that page, you can see what some of the people on my subscriber list think of the newsletter. I hope as you go forward this week, you'll look and go over to your Wonderwall and take out one or two of those wonderings and turn them into short guided inquiries to get your children's curiosity juices flowing. Because after all, isn't that what learning is really all about? So, put some time aside and get those curiosity juices flowing and model to children exactly how you go about looking for answers to questions. I'll see you next week, same time, same place. Until then, stay blooming curious and take care of yourself.